Here we go. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday. Friday before a long weekend. So there's no class on Tuesday. Don't on Monday. Sorry. There's no class on. I wish there's no class on Monday. We'll be back here on Tuesday. So it's a three-day weekend, right? So Clara is here. Good morning to you. And Mike is here. Good morning to Mike. Gabrielle is here. Hello, Gabrielle. And Faye is here. Good morning, Faye. And Sabrina is here. Good morning, Sabrina. And Vicky is here. Hello, Vicky. And Daniel is here. Good morning, Daniel. And George is almost here. Oh.
I was ready, but Chan needs to go up.
He needs to go up or grow up? You're going the wrong, oh yeah, no, you're going the right way. Good morning, Henry. Good morning, Jack. Okay. Chaotic start here, but that's okay. Okay, guys, ready? Okay, and Shimimu is here too. Good evening to you. Okay, yesterday we started talking about sexism, and our first step was to get some definitions under our belt, right? Sorry, I didn't mean that to sound like the way, I didn't mean that to sound like the way it did. We wanted to figure out some definitions here because they're important and because in kind of regular speech, people throw around the words sex and gender all the time. They use them as interchangeable sometimes, but they're not. They usually refer to different things. And so I'm trying to make the distinction here between sex, not as the thing you do, although that's something else, but biological sex as whether you are male or female, right? Whether you have two X's or an X and a Y chromosome, and kind of what your physical body, the way your physical body develops, right? And so that's what we refer to as sex. And usually in sort of social justice kind of things, when we talk about sex and gender, we say sex assigned at birth, because most of us, when we have a certain sex written on our birth certificate, whether it's male or female, or the hospital paperwork, I guess it is, it's determined very quickly, right? The baby is born, you all were born, and the doctor looks or the midwife looks and says, yep, it's a boy or it's a girl, right? No genetic testing has happened. Nobody asked you how you felt. They just looked at your physical body and said, it's a boy or it's a girl. So your sex is assigned to you at birth, right? But most of what we're kind of talking about when we talk about sort of men and women is gender, right? And gender is connected to biology, right, in some important ways, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But gender is not really the same as your biological sex. And so we said gender is kind of two things. It's kind of an internal piece of your identity, a way that you feel, a way that you identify yourself. And so but it's also a role that you play in society. And we'll talk about that a little bit later today too. Society teaches us how to perform our gender roles, and then they kind of expect us to do that, right? They expect us to perform our gender roles. And of course, if we don't, we know there are sanctions and punishments for that, but we'll get there, okay? We talked about gender in terms of whether people's internal gender identity is in alignment with their sex assigned at birth, right? And if that's the case, if those two things are in alignment, we said those people are cisgender, right? So I am a cis man, so my gender identity on the inside is that of a man, and my biological sex is also male, right? So I'm a cisgender person. But there's transgender people out there too, where their gender identity and their physical body are not in alignment, right? And so some of these people may express themselves that way, and so they may sort of be living their lives as a transgender person, but many other people may not be, because it's still not entirely safe to do so. And so the example, we were talking about the Kardashians yesterday, but we talked about Kris Jenner, who was technically a transgender individual, but for decades lived life as a man, right? And so even though inside she goes by Caitlyn now, but even though Caitlyn's gender identity was that of a woman. Bruce Jenner had the body of a man, and he went out there, or she went out there, or they went out there and performed the role of man in society convincingly, right? To the point where nobody suspected. George?
If a transgender person transgender back to his normal self, what is it? What is it called?
If they go back
Yeah.
to their original,
Yeah. Is it transgender?
no, I think that you would probably just, I don't know if people go back or not. I guess, I don't know. I don't know. That's a complicated one. Probably doesn't happen very often. So we have cisgender people, we have transgender people, and then we have people for whom sort of traditional gender roles or our ideas about what genders are don't really work for them. And so they don't feel strongly connected to one gender or another. Some people refer to themselves as gender non-binary or gender fluid or gender queer. And those are people who, again, don't really want to identify themselves as one gender or the other. Okay, and so there's people out there that are like that as well. We said that there's sexual orientation and identity, and sexual orientation had to do with your preference in terms of sexual partners and maybe to some degree romantic partners as well. Sexual identity is kind of who you express yourself to be to society, right? And so again, your sexual identity has to do with how you choose to present yourself, but also what society will accept, right? And we said that in the past, in Canada and in the US and still in other countries around the world, gay man or lesbian woman is not an available sexual identity, right? Unless you want to face discrimination or violence or wind up in prison. And so in those cases, people assume, they perform a gender identity of a heterosexual person, even though that's not their orientation. But because of their cultural circumstance, because it's not safe to be who they are, they assume a different sexual identity, right? And so, you know, in the past, there were lots and lots of gay men and lesbian women who, you know, could not come out of the closet, could not be gay or lesbian men or women in society. And so they just kind of pretended to be straight, right? So lots of them got married, lots of them had two opposite sex partners, lots of them have kids, and they kind of went on with their lives performing this different identity, even though their sexual orientation was different, right? So we saw this little graphic yesterday, and I tried to convince you that these things are not necessarily so firmly connected as we often think they are, right? And so just because somebody appears to us as a man or a woman, you know, it doesn't mean we can necessarily make any assumptions about their biological sex, about their gender identity. I guess we can make some assumptions about their gender expression, right? If somebody appears to you as a woman, their gender expression is female, right? But we can't make any assumptions about their sexual orientation or kind of who they're romantically attracted to either, right? Because again, these things are not guaranteed. And so you might see, you know, a masculine looking guy out there, but it doesn't mean that you can assume that his gender identity is male. Doesn't mean that you can assume that he, you know, desires women as sexual or romantic partners. You can't really make any assumptions at all. But that said, there are more common situations, right? And so most people in society seem to be, you know, they're cisgender people. Their gender identity is in alignment with their sex assigned at birth. Most people are, you know, mostly or completely heterosexual for the most part. But again, you can't really assume things because humans are much more kind of diverse and variable than some people would like to believe. Did anyone have any questions about this little graphic or about anything we talked about yesterday? Did any questions come to you after? Yeah.
What's the difference between bisexual and
Oh, good one. We should probably mention that. Why do you ask?
Because, like we said, bisexual loves, like, is sexually attracted to both,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one was all people
Mm-hmm.
attracted to all. There's no difference, so they let both genders.
Right. So that's a tricky one, right? And so labeling the labeling of oneself as bisexual kind of assumes that there's only two, right? That there's only two genders, men and women. But we've also argued here that actually there are people who don't fit into that category. And so that's actually a good question, Anna, because the term bisexual is a little bit older. It's a few decades old. And I think it's connected to a time when we were only talking about two genders. But now that we're talking about the idea that, well, maybe there's more than two genders, that bisexual term sometimes makes sense and sometimes doesn't. And so I think if you were someone who was attracted to both men and women, you would use bisexual. If none of that made any difference to you, then you might use the term pansexual. But yeah, it would depend. But you're right, it's connected to a time that, or to the thinking that there's only two. And so again, here in Western society, I can't speak for everybody's culture and home country, but here in the West, we're still trying to figure out what to do with these people who don't fit in other genders. So we've got a gender for men, we've got a gender for women, and then we're not sure, right? Do we have just people who are non-gendered, or should we have a third gender or a fourth gender? That's still very much in development. It's still evolving because we only just started talking about this stuff a few years ago, or at least we just started talking about this stuff seriously and not in a joking or discriminatory or prejudiced fashion, right? We're here in the West, we're just starting to talk about this in a meaningful way. And so, that the idea of how many genders do we actually have and how should we refer to them, that's still an ongoing conversation. And so it will continue to develop. There's still lots of questions. There's still lots of people who don't perfectly fit into kind of one category or another. And I guess we'll just kind of see how society and culture sort of decides on how to talk about that, or what categories exist. It's, as I say, it's culture changes, right? And so the culture is changing in that regard, and we'll just see what develops.
So how many genders are there?
It depends on what culture you come from.
Just culture? Like in North America?
Traditionally in North America, there are two. You were either a man or a woman. That's it.
Now it's three.
Now we are recognizing that there are men and women, but there are also people who don't fit into those two categories. And so should we have, is trans man and trans woman, are those two genders? Or should we have a gender that includes just trans people? Or should trans men simply be included in the male gender? Like, if you feel you're a man inside, does that make you a man and that's it? End of story? I don't know. So again, your culture kind of determines how many genders there are. In the West, traditionally there were only two. Now we're at a point where we're like, okay, we've got two and we've got people who don't fit into those two. What to do? Other cultures, again, some have three, some have four.
Getting weird.
What's that? Say again?
It's getting wild.
It's confusing, right? Because again, people are much more diverse and variable than at least Western culture has wanted to admit in the past, right? Western culture wanted to believe there were men, there were women, everyone was straight, end of story, right? And so, but again, that's not the case, right? Historically speaking, there's in different cultures, and going back thousands of years, there's examples of people who were transgender, who they just didn't use those terms for them. Going back in history, there were people who were homosexuals or engaged in homosexual activity. There's lots of precedent for that, but Western culture kind of just wanted to assume you had men and women and everyone was straight. But just because you just because you want to believe that doesn't mean that that's the way it is. And so again, humans are quite variable in their behavior, and so depending on the culture you belong to, these ideas are kind of imagined differently. So Daniel asks here, do trans men want to be identified as women? I think probably what you're asking there, Daniel, is do trans women want to be identified as women? And that's a good question. And so if their sex assigned at birth was that was male, right? So if they were born a boy, but their internal gender identity was female as a woman, and they decided, okay, I'm going to live my life as a woman, I think the question is, does she want to be identified as a woman or a trans woman? And I don't know the answer to that. Most of the time, I think, I don't know. And again, that's part of the ongoing conversation, right? Is the idea, do we want to get to a place where, if you identify as a woman on the inside, that makes you a woman, end of story. You don't need to talk about trans or cis. That doesn't matter. Women are women. Or, do we need or do we want this extra category of trans woman, right? Because, and actually, there's been a bit of argument about here. Was anyone aware of the controversy that J.K. Rowling, the Harry Potter author, kind of stirred up around this? Yeah. Do you remember what she said? She said a few things that people took offense to.
She said trans woman is not really a woman.
Right. So she said that trans women are, and again, we're paraphrasing here. I don't know if this is the quote, but yeah, she said that they weren't really women. Was that correct? She said a couple of things that were inflammatory to people, but that was one of them. Do you remember something different, Avera, or?
She said, I remember a lot of people got mad at her because she said women, or she used a term that I think that included trans people or something like that because of periods or something.
Right. So what she was trying to point out, and she probably didn't do a very good job of it, but also people are hypersensitive on social media, and so there's that too. But I think what she was trying to point out was that if you're to be a woman, to be a cis woman, and to go through life in a woman's physical body is not the same experience as being a trans woman and having an internal gender identity as a woman and maybe going through part of your life as a man, or at least living your life in a male body. I think, and I'm going to give J.K. Rowling the benefit of the doubt here, I think she was trying to point out that those are not entirely the same experience. And I would imagine that she is correct in saying that. However, I also have to mention that I have no idea what either of those experiences are like, right? Because my internal gender identity is not of a woman, and I have not lived any of my life either as identifying as a woman inside or living life in the body of a woman. So I have no idea what either of those things are like, right? So I can't speak to either of those, and I can't say what's more like what, right? So, but I think J.K. Rowling was trying to say that she didn't think those were the same experience. And again, they probably aren't. But it's a very contentious area. Again, people are hypersensitive and, prone to anger on social media. And she probably didn't explain her position in the best way. But also, in a way, she was also speaking for, or trying to speak for, trans women, which she probably shouldn't do because she's not a trans woman as far as I know. She's a cis woman. So she can speak from her perspective, but she can't entirely say what it's like to be a trans woman. Although I think she had a point. I think she just didn't say it very well, and of course people are very quick to anger on social media, and so that was a bad situation for her. But I think that's what she was trying to say. George.
J.K. Rowling called, what is it, Dumbledore is gay.
What's that?
J.K. Rowling confessed that Dumbledore is gay.
Yeah, I think she did, right? Yeah.
I don't know, she started saying a lot of weird things about the characters in the book, like some, she created like backstories for them,
Yeah.
yes. It's just a little weird, like so many years after the book. At least I feel like she did it because times are changing and she didn't include enough.
Oh, she's retconning. She's retconning her characters. Maybe she is. It's true. It's true. But yeah. So for how do we get onto J.K. Rowling? Where did we? Oh, in terms of like what people should be called. Yeah. So again, I think where we're getting to is it's kind of up to individuals to define how they want to be seen. And I think if we want to be respectful to people, we should kind of call them what we want. We'll call them what they want to be called. But we'll talk about that a little later. I've got maybe, what's today, Friday? Maybe Monday or Tuesday we can talk about that in a little more detail. Yeah. Okay, other questions? These are good. These are good, and it's very interesting and it's very current because this is something that's happening right now. Okay. Next thing. Is that Kang or Kodos? These are the aliens from this, or one of the aliens from The Simpsons. And so, what's that? No, if you watch The Simpsons, sometimes these two aliens show up, Kang and Kodos. And they usually show up on Halloween episodes, sometimes trying to take over the world, the Earth, sometimes not. Anyway, this is an alien, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to do a little exercise with you, and it goes like this. This is an alien, okay? And the alien has just landed on Earth, okay? And this alien comes from a planet where there is no gender, okay? Gender doesn't exist. They're all the same. They reproduce by splitting into two, okay? So there's no sex. There's no sex, there's no gender. All of the aliens are the same in this regard, okay? Now, this alien here has come to study Earth culture and see what humans are like. And so this alien has the ability to shapeshift, okay? So the alien has the ability to sort of transform itself into a human man or a human woman. And so this alien's plan is to sort of shapeshift into the body of a man or woman and kind of walk around society and try to observe humans and see what they're like. Good so far? Okay. Now, the problem for the alien is that it doesn't know how to act, right? It hasn't been socialized in Earth culture, number one. But number two, it doesn't really know any gender rules, right? It doesn't know how, so if this alien transforms into the appearance of a man, it doesn't really know how to act like a man. It doesn't really know how to perform that role. And similarly, if the alien transforms into the appearance of a woman, the alien has no idea how to act like a woman. And so what the alien needs to do is it needs to act convincingly, right? Because if it acts strangely, then it won't be able to kind of integrate itself into human society, right? It won't be able to really learn what humans are and how humans behave if it's not able to kind of blend in with everybody else, right? So it can take care of the physical part. It can look like a man or a woman, but we are going to have to teach the alien how to act like a woman or how to act like a man, okay? So, what I would like you to do is this. I would like you to take a few minutes. We don't have to get into groups, but you can talk to people around you if you want. And I want you to come up with a list of tips or instructions or things the alien should do in order to convincingly act like one gender or another. So very interestingly in this room, all of the guys are sitting on one side and all of the girls are sitting on the other side. And I don't know how or why that happened, but that seems to be how things have sorted out today. It's not always that. Is it always that way? No, it's not.
No, in the last mostly.
No, Mike usually sits there, but it's mostly, yeah, okay. Interestingly, this has sorted itself out. Okay. Either way, this is what I want you to do, okay? So girls, I want you to figure out, and girls in the internet world here too, what I'd like you to do is come up with as many kind of instructions or tips or things that this alien needs to do or say or act like in order to convincingly perform the role of woman in this society, okay? Or in your home society too, whatever comes to mind is okay. Guys, same thing. You're going to come up with as many rules or tips or things that this alien has to do in order to convincingly act like a man, right? We don't want other humans suspecting that this is actually a shape-shifting alien. We want people to just assume it's a guy like any other guy. And girls, of course, we want the people to assume the alien is a girl like any other girl, okay? So maybe what I'll do is I'll give you 8 minutes to come up with as many of these things as you possibly can, okay? Rules for the alien or tips for the alien to act like a boy. Guys, that'll be your job. And girls, rules to act like a girl, okay? And then after, you guys can discuss amongst yourselves totally, and girls, you can too if you want. But come up with as much as you possibly can. Tons and tons of stuff. Okay, go for it. Yeah,
boy or a man?
either one. Okay. So that takes care of 8 minutes. I'm curious to see what we've come up with. So online people, I can see your comments here. So if you want to just fire things into the live chat, I can put them up onto the screen here. So let's start out with the girls because ladies first, right? So give me some rules. How can this alien convincingly act like a girl? No, not guys, girls. You're the expert.
Shave your legs or remove any hair that is on your head.
Okay, so shave legs, remove all hair not on head. Okay, girls, what else?
You can wear high heels.
High heels. What else?
Dressed in dress.
Ooh, dress. Whoops. To impress. What else?
With your legs closed.
Ah, legs crossed, right? No man-spreading, as they say. What else?
If it isn't makeup,
What's that, makeup? Op-
it's optional.
optional? Is it? Is it?
It is.
That's like many.
Okay. What else?
Watch out for yourself at night.
Oh, okay. Watch out for self at night. Good. Gabrielle says clothing, which should be feminine. What does that oh boy. Feminine. Nope. Shoot. Embarrassing. Nope, not famine or feline. Feminine. Nope. Gosh. Embarrassing. What is that? Oh no, hang on. I didn't want to do that. Okay. I'm gonna let that go. Okay. Oh, interesting. Can I do that? Oh, Sabrina says, oh, that's in Russian. Knows when to listen and when to share opinions. Interesting. Sabrina also says caring. Gabrielle says nurturing. Girls, what else? Just throw something at me. What's that? Okay, no swearing.
Do not laugh loudly.
No swearing or loud laughing. Shamimu says makeup. Vicky says elegance. What else?
Talk gently.
Okay, gentle. So gentle speaking, soft speaking. What else? Say again, Aliana. Okay, I'm going to put that with makeup, hair, etc.
Learn how to cook.
Oh, okay. Cooking skills. Oh, Sabrina says independent, but not too independent. Tricky. Hang on, I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller so that we can see even more. Where's my... Whew, it's going to be tiny. That's okay. Format. Okay. Be independent, but not too independent. Because apparently society thinks women can't do everything on their own, says Sabrina. Okay. Act in a shy way.
What?
I'm just typing it down. Be well-mannered.
Act in a shy way?
Well-mannered. Ooh.
Watch bar
Motherly vibes, says Sabrina. Watch, can I say girly cartoons? Is that okay? What else?
Go into the bathroom with the silence as a dress. That's important.
Say that one more time.
Don't go into the guy's bathroom.
Oh, okay. So use your appropriate gender washroom.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of applies to everyone though. But you're right.
Go with groups of girls in the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Go to bathroom
To take selfies.
in groups. I have no idea why you go to the bathroom in groups. Maybe it's selfies, who knows? What else? Girly hobbies. So yeah, girlfriends, whoops. Girlfriends, you should have them. What else? Girls, anything else?
Eat with your mouth closed.
Eat with your mouth closed? Okay, that's kind of a societal thing though, isn't it?
I don't know. Like, you can't be messy.
Oh, but okay, so you have to be neat and clean.
Boys are needed.
Are they? Sorry, Anna, what'd you say?
Me?
Yeah.
I think it was Aliana.
Oh. So, oh, sorry, Aliana, what did you say? You're supposed to gossip?
Really?
Hey, I'm just following the rules here as the girls are laying them out. Give me just a few.
The more we know.
Give me just a few. Yeah. Give me just a few more, okay, girls? Give me two more.
What do you guys think of girls? Like,
Know
don't
how
take
to
any
party,
of this
know how to
sides
party.
of that.
Oh, okay. Hang on, what am I going to say here? Okay, what else? One more.
Underpoint.
Always need a mirror.
Say again?
Always need a mirror.
Oh, like you're always kind of looking in the mirror and okay. Look in the mirror a lot and check, whoops, your appearance.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Oh, oh boy, appearance. Okay, and hang on. B says not aggressive. So don't be too aggressive, girls. And don't play with action figures. Man, there's a lot of rules. Whoops. Clean fingernails. And maybe trimmed and painted and acrylics and blah blah blah. Okay. Okay. That's a lot of stuff. There's obviously more, but let's switch over to the guys here. Whoops, definitely not. No, I'm just getting just getting the font the right size. Okay, guys, what do you got for me? Online guys too. What?
Be strong.
Be strong. Okay.
Confident.
Confidence.
Or you see a nice car that is like sweet, you look at it until it passes by.
Oh, okay. So, ogle nice cars.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
I'm not the only who does
Huh?
your nails. Cut your nails.
Okay, short fingernails.
Everyone cut it down.
Oh, bite your finger. Look cool.
Look cool. I need more than just because look cool can be. There's something to looking cool. So tell me how to look cool. Zion says exercise, hairstyle. Mike, I need more than hairstyle. What else? What else you got for me?
Independent.
Be independent, but not too independent. Or is there such thing?
Not independent.
Independent. Period. Right. Full stop. What else you got for me?
Have a good personality.
Be a man. Define good. Be interesting.
Okay, so girls aren't supposed to be interesting.
Looking what? Oh, like check. Okay, so check out hot girls.
Real men.
Real men do that. What else?
Must man spread.
What, you must man spread?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you're allowed to man spread. Does everyone know what that means? It's kind of when you sit in a chair with your kind of legs open, the exact opposite of what women are encouraged to do, even though. What else? What else we got, guys? How do you be a man?
That's it.
Like when you're walking, you have to separate your legs. Like you can't can't walk.
Okay, no, show us the walk. Give us the.
Like you have to walk like.
I didn't know there's a rule like that.
There's a rule, yeah.
No, not cut walk with your man. Like you
Okay.
cannot-
Oh, so parallel.
Oh, okay.
When you're sitting, you have to.
Okay.
This one, because you can use it because you have to struggle with between your legs.
Ah, okay. So you gotta walk like a man
I don't know if there's
and
a rule like that.
sit with legs crossed, but not in the girly. Whoops, but not in the girly way. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Daniel, don't act like a girl. I need more than that because that's the whole. That's what we're trying to figure out. Oh, sports. Sam says sports. 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 Play and be interested in. Interested in, right? What else?
Be like the rock.
Like the Rock. What does that mean?
Don't
Jacked.
Don't what? Sam?
cook.
Don't cook. Okay, so
I cook. No.
Be bad at cooking, so hopefully your girlfriend or wife will do it for you. What else?
Also, you mean be lazy?
I don't know. I'm just typing. I don't know what they mean. What do you mean? Smoke? Okay. Smoke is okay. Smoke, but in a manly way.
Manly smoke.
What else?
This is a fact. If a guy likes a girl, they'll talk with a deeper voice.
Oh, okay. Well, the voice is important too, right? Because, should you talk like this up here if you're a guy?
They have a baritone.
Should you?
Baritone.
Is this an appropriate voice for a man? No, it's not, right? So deep voice.
Wait, do guys actually speak in a deeper voice when they like a girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Because
fact.
girls speak in a higher voice.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's a fact.
That's a fact?
Yeah.
That's science for you right there.
Science.
What else, guys?
Good at cleaning.
Good at cleaning?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm good at cleaning and cooking.
You might be good at it, but is that a manly thing?
Yes, it is.
Is it manly to put on an apron and the yellow rubber gloves
Yeah, it's a
and just make the kitchen your you-know-what? Like, is
trend
that,
now. It's a trend now.
it's a trend?
There's a man who knows how to cook and clean is a trend now.
Okay, I'm gonna type it down. I'm skeptical, but you're the one filling out this list. What else?
Watch some match like NBA or World Cup.
Yeah, so sports, right? NBA, football, etc. What else? Guys, what else?
Being polite to women.
Okay, so polite. I guess you could say be a gentleman, which is something that people say.
Don't stare at the girl.
Like stare in a hot girl is not.
Okay, so
Stare.
facial hair, right? Definitely something that women don't want, but men often do that, right?
Asians can do it.
Yeah, so facial hair, beards, stuff like that. Certainly Western society is not into facial hair for women, right? What else?
Watch Ben 10.
Watch what?
Ben 10. Ben 10.
What's that?
The cartoon.
Like, boom. You know that? like a guy and then boom, and then there's an
Like
Oh, it's a cartoon where guys turn into animals? Is that?
No, he summoned an animal.
Oh, he summons
No,
animals.
he doesn't summon them. He turns into them.
Yeah, he
It's
turns
like
It's
a
not
video.
animals, they're like robots or something.
Okay, this is
It could be a robot.
too abstract, too specific. No. What else?
play video games.
Play video games. Okay.
Dark colors.
Okay. Dark colors. I'm gonna take a few from the girls.
Door for lady when walking.
Okay. I'm gonna put that with gentlemen. Open doors for women. Oh yeah. What?
Apologize even though it's not their fault.
That's true.
Apologize for everything all the time. Joking. What else?
Fishing. Like
Fishing? Do you go fishing, Jack? Never. But but that's a manly pastime. What else? Anything else?
Drink beer.
yeah, know how to drink.
Drink beer. What else should men drink?
Anything alcohol.
Whiskey. Okay. Anything else? Beer and whiskey. Okay. What should men eat?
Meat.
Meat.
Anything. Anyone.
Oh, okay. Sabrina says watch action movies. What else?
I like romantic movies.
Well, that's okay. You're allowed to do
Wear
that.
a dress.
What's that?
Don't wear a dress.
Oh, okay, so no dresses, no high heels.
Yeah, basically no girl actions.
No what?
No girl actions.
Oh, okay. So
Sometimes
right?
No gossip.
No gossiping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bros. Yeah.
Okay, no gossip. Whoops. What else? Anything else?
The pro handshake.
Oh, okay. Bro stuff. What's bro stuff?
Profit.
What's that?
It's like this.
Okay, yeah. So the fist bump, right? What else? What else is kind of broy?
Like whether you say something.
Why don't I say something? What's that?
Call each other bro.
College guys can be broy. Yeah.
Like calling each other bro.
Oh, call each other bro. Hey, bro. Okay, George, what else you got for me?
Always make the first move to a girl.
Ah. Make the first move. Okay, call each other bro or homie.
Dog.
Anything else?
Dog.
What?
Dog.
Dog. Oh, bro or homie.
Dog.
Dog.
Yeah, like
Dog.
Guys are weird, hey? Okay, so that's a pretty good list. Pretty good couple of lists. All right.
Veins.
Do you notice anything? Does anything kind of stand out to you about these lists? Any patterns? Is anything strange or weird or?
You're the opposite.
In some ways they are, right? And so we've talked about that already, that kind of binary opposite thing, right? You define, if you're a boy or if you're a man, you define yourself as a man, but also you define yourself by what you're not, right? And so don't be a girl is very clearly that statement, right? In order to be a man, you have to not be such a woman, right? Which is what guys sometimes say, right? Don't be such a woman. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because there isn't. Girls, the same thing, right? Girls, maybe to a lesser degree, but you can define yourself by what you are by what you are not, right? And so you're not supposed to be a guy, you're not supposed to do guy things so much. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later. What else do you notice about the things that we've come up with here?
Guys have a very strong protective role to play, while girls have a very mild, soft, like image to portray, I guess.
Yeah, there's a very kind of there's a thread running through this, and for guys, it's definitely about being kind of strong, being tough, being confident. Girls were supposed to be emotional and sensitive, but guys, were you emotional and sensitive?
Yeah.
Are you supposed to be? Are you supposed to be? I'll tell you what. I think we need a break because I think everyone's been working hard. So take 10, come back, and we'll see what we can learn from this list, okay? Ready, ready, ready?
No, no, no.
No, no, no. Yes, yes, yes.
No, sir.
We're doing it anyway.
Yes, sir, Steve.
We're doing it anyway.
I do not consent.
So, yeah, so we've come up with quite a few rules, right? And would you say that these are all the rules for acting like a boy or a girl or a man? Not even close, right? And so, again, there's a massive number of social rules and norms that you have all absorbed. And again, we act these things out every day, right? We assume that we have free will and that we do whatever we want. But of course, we do whatever we want within social rules, right? I might want to wear a dress to work on Tuesday, but I'm not going to, right? And the reason I'm not going to, well, not the only reason, but one of the reasons I'm not going to is that, you know, I will be violating a social rule, a significant one, and there will be consequences. People will look at me strangely and make assumptions about me, right? Now, so what else did you notice about this? We were talking about emotions before we kind of stopped for a break, because on the girls' side we had emotional and sensitive. And guys, are you expected to be emotional and sensitive? No?
Emotional maybe, but not sensitive.
Not sensitive, okay. Is there a difference in terms of what kind of emotions the genders can express or are allowed to
I
express?
think they're the same.
They're the same?
Yeah, like if you break up, like you get the same emotion.
Men is mostly angry.
Men are mostly angry.
Like when you're watching like a sad movie, like the girl is supposed to cry and then like,
You're okay, so when you're watching a sad movie or something sad happens in a movie, the girls are supposed to cry, quote unquote, and guys are supposed to say like, "What are you crying about?" Right? Avera, what were you going to say?
Guys crying in general has been found for the longest time.
Yeah, guys are not supposed to cry, right? If has anyone ever seen that show Parks and Recreation? There's one character, a very manly character on there called Ron Swanson, and Ron is teaching these young boys how to be a man. And he says crying. He's like only acceptable at funerals and the Grand Canyon. So again, men are not supposed to cry, right? And definitely not, not frequently, probably not in front of people, and only for limited reasons, right? So. What kind of other emotions can women express that men can't?
They cry whenever they want.
You can cry whenever you want, you girls. What else can you?
Express pain.
Can express pain, right? Physical or otherwise. What else? What else can women express that men can't or aren't supposed to?
Excitement.
What's that?
Like excess excitement. You can get really excited.
Girls can get really excited and giggly and oh my God, right? Girls can do that, but guys are supposed to say, "Hey, cool, bro," right? You won the lottery, that's cool, fist bump. Whereas women can, freak out with their girlfriends, right, and go ah. And then what emotions are men allowed to express then? George said anger. I sometimes feel that when people aren't paying attention to what's going on up here. Feel anger. What's that?
happiness.
Guys can be happy within reason, right? You can't get giddy or too excited, but you can be happy. Guys, what else can you be emotionally? You can be angry. You can be happy.
You can be sad.
You can be sad, but within reason, right? You can't be too. And what do guys do when they're sad?
They're just silent. They just sit quiet.
Silent, right? So you're not allowed to cry, right? You're not allowed to.
Speak with friends.
You're not allowed to speak with friends and say, I'm really feeling sad and I need some support. I need to talk. Guys don't do that, right? We just sit there silently and stew in it, right? What else?
Shannon has one more emotion for men.
According to the idea of George, he say man is horny.
You can be horny. Yeah, you can, right? So men can be sexually aroused, right? Can women? You have to hide it, right? So men are kind of allowed to behave in this way or to communicate that they're feeling this way, but women are supposed to hide it, right? So that's kind of interesting, right? Is that would you say that women are allowed to express, for the most part, a wider range of emotions than men?
Yeah.
Are women allowed to be angry?
Yeah.
Who will receive a response from?
You will, yeah. So not are you angry, because women are frequently angry, usually at us, and usually with good reason. But I'm teasing. But are you allowed to show it, or do you have to be careful about how you show it?
Be careful.
Yeah.
Because usually if you don't do it, like really someone go, why are you so, like, you can't even express your anger the way you want to because people question it. Instead of saying why you're angry, they go, why are you so sensitive? Why are you so pressed about it?
Interesting. Yeah. So guys, can you express your anger freely? Can you go full on Incredible Hulk if you need to? Well, maybe not really, but you can, right? Your guys are expected to show that they're angry, right? Whereas women often, even though they may be angry, there's limits on what they're able to express. Do you think we see that or saw that in Mean Girls? Do any of those girls get angry?
Yeah, like Regina was kind of pissed.
She freaks at the end, right? So Regina loses her marbles at the end, right? When she finds out that Caltine bar is a weight gain bar, and she realizes that she's not the queen bee anymore and that Katie has totally sabotaged her. Yeah, she loses her marbles. But for the most part, do those girls get mad at all? Not really. Not in front of anyone, and not even with each other. So how do they express their anger? Gossiping, laughing at other people, saying mean things, setting up those calls, right? Those ambush conference calls. Yeah, they're kind of mean behind each other's backs, right? Because they're not allowed to express their anger, right? And so you see that at the end of the film where Miss Norbury sits everyone down in the gym and you see them actually talking out what makes them angry, right? And that's much more healthy. But up until that point, the girls are encouraged not to be angry with each other. They're socialized not to express it. And so you see them letting out that anger in other ways, in mean ways, but super destructive, right? What else do you notice about these two lists?
Like exercises for both.
Exercises for both. How are men encouraged to look versus how are women encouraged to look?
Buffed up.
Right. Guys are expected to be, the ideal is, The Rock, right? Super jacked. But are we all super jacked? No, we're not. But are women expected to be super jacked and muscular? No, right? So exercise is valued, but body types you're supposed to exercise in different ways, right? Because you're supposed to appear in different ways.
I thought some women fear like the body of like The Rock or something.
Some women are a little bit nervous, right? That if they go to the gym, that they will get too muscular, right? Because that's not a desired look, right? And yeah, if you know anything about working out, you know how difficult it is to actually become muscular. It doesn't happen by accident. You've really got to work hard at it. And women, sorry girls, but to some degree you probably have to work harder at it if that's what you want.
You look like The Rock when you were younger.
Did I look like The Rock?
Yeah,
I did not. Maybe like maybe when I was like an infant. Like maybe when we were both 6 months old, we looked the same. But I think after that, there's no similarity.
So in your 20s, you look jacked.
No, I was never jacked. I don't even think I could be jacked. I don't build muscle very well. Would you say that there are more rules for women about how to look? Why is that?
They need to make up and do hair and stuff. Men, like, they don't care.
There's hair and there's makeup,
Nails,
nails, there's stylish clothes, there's high heels,
earrings.
there's earrings, there's accessories. You have to walk a certain way, apparently, which Daniel was nice enough to demo for us, right? There's a certain walk that women are supposed to do, right? So there's a lot. Why is there so many? Shaving legs is in there. Why are there so many rules about women's appearance and guys not so much? Let me ask you this too. Do you find that in your home countries, do you find that girls dress better than guys do?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere?
Yeah.
That's a cultural universal?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is that, girls?
I feel like especially in professional settings, your outlook is judged a lot, so you have to try a lot harder to impress someone.
Right. So because there are more rules in terms of women's appearance, they have to put more effort in, especially in professional settings, Avera says, just to be judged the same. Does that remind you of that resume thing? Right? Remember the resume experience where the resumes with black sounding names needed more qualifications and more experience and still didn't get judged at the same level as the white sounding names? Yeah, it's the same thing here, right? You have a discrimination happening where women have to dress more professional in order to be seen at the same level as men, right? And you'll see that, right? You'll see that happen. You'll see Sarah here every day, not every day anymore, but Sarah always dresses better than I do, right? Every single day. And do I feel any pressure to dress better? Not that much, right? But Sarah might, right? Sarah might feel judged unfairly if she were to dress as casually as I do, right? And again, that's very common in basically all workplaces, right? Is that women have to be more careful of their appearance just to be judged at the same level as their male counterparts. There's a lot of appearance rules for being a woman, right? What else? Anything else that jumps out here? Oh, okay. There's some bathroom rules, right? So girls go to the bathroom in groups for some reason, which I don't know because I'm not a girl. But guys, do we go to the bathroom in groups?
Always one stool apart.
Oh yeah, and you've got to, yeah, so when you get into the bathroom,
Always one stool apart.
yeah, so if you get into the bathroom and there are stalls or urinals there, you always separate. You don't go to this one next to your friend or next to any other guy unless you absolutely have to, right? Unless there's just no choice, right? Why is that? Why is that? Why don't we like to pee beside each other
I think
while girls go to the bathroom in large groups?
I think because maybe the guys are scared to see each other's peepees.
Ah, okay. So guys might be concerned that other guys might see their genitals, right? So girls, is that a concern for you? Are you concerned?
I think girls are more okay with touching, hugging each other. Guys would think, oh, if I hug my friend, I'm gay,
Right.
I don't know, like physical touch and affection is not okay for them, and like in like back home, girls like before we go to parties, like we change in front of each other. Like I've seen all my friends' boobs, like it's
Oh.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Guys, and then I hear like guys go, dude, someone like peed in the urinal beside me and he moved to pee. And it's like the biggest. Okay, that is a problem because he's a stranger, but like standing and peeing in the urinal next to you is enough of a problem.
Yeah, so women are socialized to be much more comfortable kind of around each other and to be sort of vulnerable with each other. And even that extends to kind of physical touch and physical proximity. Whereas guys, we are socialized to not do that, right? There's only certain kinds of touching are appropriate, right? So we might handshake, we might fist bump, you might do the chest bump if you're really bro-y. Can you hug your guy friends?
Ew.
Ew?
Ew.
What if your guy friend said like he was getting married? Would you hug him?
Oh yeah, like that. Like,
Okay,
emotional,
but
emotional.
how what's the hug got to be like?
Super quickly.
Quick hug. So maybe like 3 seconds tops.
No,
Or
it's
the
like,
pass.
The pat.
that's not
Right.
fast.
Yeah. Can you? Are you guys gonna demo? Okay, cool.
Like
Oh yeah, the hand pull in, right, and kind of the shoulder hug, right? There's that. If you fully hug your male friend, you got to do the pat, right? You don't caress him, right?
no.
So yeah, so there's a lot of rules in that regard, right? And there's in many cases baked into the rules, the socialization of being a guy, is a little bit of homophobia, right? A little bit of being scared of appearing too feminine or appearing gay, right? So you could say that one of the rules is don't be a girl, but another rule is don't be gay either, right? And so again, it differs depending on the country and where you come from, but yeah, there's this undercurrent of not wanting to be feminine, but also not wanting to be gay, right? You don't want to see your friends naked. You don't want to look at their stuff while you're in the bathroom, which you probably shouldn't anyway, because, it's a little weird. We definitely don't get changed in front of each other. We don't touch each other very much, unless you're like wrestling with each other. We do lots of bumps and, the sort of handshake, shoulder hug kind of thing, whatever that is. But we're not really encouraged to connect with each other physically in any way, right?
I don't know, but when the guys are close, they just like smack you in your butts.
Oh yeah, there's the guy butt smack, right? But somehow that has been interpreted as not gay, right? Although it could be, but interestingly, probably because it comes from the world of sports, I think, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Somehow that has been exempted from gay behavior. But of course, for most of us guys, we're pretty strongly encouraged not to act that way, right?
When they push the boundaries, they have to explicitly say no homo.
Yeah, there's the no homo thing, right? So if anything even so much looks as it might be slightly gay, you are supposed to claim that, oh, sorry, I was muted. For online people, all you missed is we're just talking about some of these things. Some of these came from an earlier class, an earlier term. As you can see, lots of them are the same. We were just talking about the idea of the alpha male, right? And in terms of male groups sometimes have a bit of a hierarchy or a little bit of a leadership structure. Maybe girl groups don't so much have that. Okay, we only have a little time left, so I'm just going to try to wrap this up. That was kind of fun. What I wanted to say is that, first of all, regardless of the society we come from, all societies have gender roles, right? And so we just, guys, you with me? So we just came up with a bunch of rules that sort of describe gender roles. And so what I want to point out to you here is that how many of these rules do you think are connected to real biological differences between men and women? Which ones do you think are the result of biology? I know. Clothes? Well, do you think I don't wear a dress because of my biology? No. I could wear a dress. I might look damn good in one. But it's culture, right? It's culture that says men don't wear dresses, not biology. I know it's tiny.
The ones concerning how your body looks like exercise, because guys have more testosterone and girls have higher fat levels, so
Yeah.
the look of me wanting to look buff, I think, comes from that.
Yeah, so to some degree, desired body types for men and women are connected to biology because, of course, our bodies are biological, so that's true. Tanine says, yeah, men love to appear rich or wealthy or successful in front of their partners. That's true. Do you think that's biological? Not so much? We probably don't have time to get into it, but if you go back far enough into human history, you'll see that we all start out as hunter-gatherers, and hunter-gatherers don't own anything. They hunt, they gather, they live in groups that are very cooperative. They don't have any private property. Nobody owns anything. So that's a cultural thing, I think, that Hanine's pointed out, not so much biology. Do men love to be in control? No? That we all want some control over our lives. I think we can agree to that. But are men, do you think men are biologically dominant? Or do you think that we are just culturally encouraged to be that? Okay. What else do you think?
We've normalized that these things are just for women and those are for men. So if you wear a dress, it's nothing like about your biology or something. It's just not normal for you. So we act over it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm trying to point out, is that often with gender roles we assume that they are based on biology, right? Or we assume that they're just naturally the way men and women are. But most of these really aren't so much, right? Guys don't cry very much, but do we not cry because we just don't work that way, or have we just been encouraged not to? Yeah, right. Aliana, what were you going to say?
Maybe the sitting.
The sitting?
Because men can't sit like this because
Right. So you could say something about the sitting and the walking as well, right? Because one of the biological differences that men and women have is actually in your pelvic architecture, right? Because your pelvis, if you're a woman, a baby has to come out of there. If you're a man, a baby doesn't have to come out of there because you don't have them. So the pelvis of a man and a pelvis of a woman are just a little bit different. And so that does change the way you sit, and it does change the way that you walk as well, right? Just slightly, because the bones are a slightly different shape, right? Different orientation. It's my anthropology background there. Okay, So there's more to talk about here, but I think we're just about out of time. Does anyone else have anything to say in terms of closing comments? Nope, 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 nope.
These are all socially constructed rules that we still follow because we're sheep, but hey, that's the way it is.
These are all socially constructed rules that we follow because we're sheep, but also because we encourage them, right? And to some degree we like them, right? Because I know that if I follow all of the rules or most of the rules, I don't really care about sports, but if I follow most of the rules of being a man, that means that other men will respond favorably to me, and hopefully women will as well, right? So if I follow the rules of my gender, then people will reward me, right, for acting the way that I am supposed to, right? But yeah, all of these rules, except for, maybe a couple that have a biological connection, all of them are culturally constructed, right? Men are this way and women are this way because we say so, right? Not because we are so biologically different, but because we've been socialized differently, right? And again, there are biological differences, but most of gender is a culturally constructed thing, right? And again, there are different rules for different genders, and there's even different threads, right? Males have a thread of kind of independence, strength, and confidence. Women have a thread of maybe vulnerability and emotion and appearance, right? Those things are generally more important in the types of rules that exist for women versus men, right? Okay, I think that's good. I think we did a good job today. That's all I have for you. So online people, I'll see you on Tuesday because Monday is Thanksgiving. Have a nice long weekend.